Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Overwatch In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Symmetra, or the annoying microwave lady, as many of you like to call her. Gameplay is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little bit more whole games because Symmetra is a strategic tactical champion, and I wanted to show you a little bit more setup and less just killing people. So let's jump straight into her stats. Her base health is 200 total hit points, with 100 being health and 100 being shield, kind of like Zenyatta. However, her being able to regenerate shield and possibly have 75 more with her shield generator makes her very durable. She doesn't need a lot of healing or a whole lot of health packs. As long as she survives the engagement, she will come back with a reasonable amount of health. That and the photon barrier allows her to mitigate much more damage than you would typically expect for a support hero. Let's talk about her weapon first, which is the microwave. It's the annoying gun that goes bzzz, and as soon as you hear it ramp up, you know bad things are going to happen. But it is a lock-on single target energy beam. Hits only one person at a time, unlike Winston's, and if people walk across it, they don't take any damage either. Its lock-on range is 7 meters, which is very close range. However, the lock-off range is 9.5, and this is kind of strange because you have to be closer to somebody to latch onto them, and it stays on them even though they move outside of your initial lock-on range, which screws a lot of people up and gets a lot of people killed to Symmetra. And I would like to point out that the game is very generous about the lock-off time. It takes about a half to quarter second to break the lock, even if the person has gone fully around the corner behind you, out of your cone of view, or there's some sort of physical barrier in the way. There's a lot of people that get killed around corners and through walls by Symmetra because it takes that little bit of time to break the lock-on. The damage increases over time. It's not a linear increase, as in slowly going from 1 to 10, but it hits 3 distinct stages depending on how long you've been shooting people. It's 7.5 damage per hit initially, and then the halfway point it'll pick up to 15, and then finally it'll go up to 30 damage per hit, and this increases over time, obviously, as you have locked on. That is 4 hits per second, so if you're looking at a damage per second measurement, that's going to be 30 damage per second, then jumping to 60, and then to a colossal 120. It takes about 2.5 seconds to hit that full 120 charge, or most of your first magazine clip, I would say, of the microwave weapon. Of note, you can charge this off of shields or off of Maywalls or pretty much anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody's health. While initially negligible, this will increase up to a very scary 120 DPS over time, and you will begin nuking squishies and becoming a major threat to tanks. A charged Symmetra is a very scary Symmetra, and she's a very fun person to damage boost with Mercy, and sometimes to nano boost. Maybe not as great of a target as a Genji or a Soldier or something, but if she's got full charge and there's a lot of people up close in your face, a nano boosted Symmetra is a very, very scary Symmetra. Of note, you will maintain your charge even after reloading as well, so reload as you see fit, but you don't have a whole lot of time after your reload before you need to start hitting people again. Her secondary attack, or the floaty balls of death, I will call them, are little balls that she can charge up and fling at enemies. They're incredibly slow moving. However, the longer she holds down and charges them, the hitbox will increase and the damage will increase. The initial damage is very low at only 26, but it ramps up to being very, very high at 125. 125 damage per ball is very high, and of note, these balls go through any shields. Reinhardt, Orisa, Winston, they go straight on through. However, do keep in mind that Genji can deflect them, and D.Va can eat them with her barrier, and Zarya can just kind of use them to charge her barrier up. The balls will go through people as well, so you can hit multiple targets at once, which is very, very scary. And there are 2 primary uses for this. Number 1 is that they punish people who like to sit behind Reinhardt shields, because you can hit Reinhardt and everybody else on the team. And 2, if you know you're going to engage on somebody, you can charge up the ball, get it at full charge, run around the corner, use it like a point-blank shotgun to hit that initial 125 burst damage, and then lock onto them. The shotgun ball lock-on combo is incredibly deadly, and I would recommend it to anybody that plays Symmetra. Moving on, let's talk about her annoying turret stats. I know they're called sentry turrets, but I'm going to call them annoying turrets because they are very very annoying. She can place up to 6 turrets on the map that instantly lock on and start cooking people. They have a range of 10 meters, or approximately the same as your lock-off range on your microwave cannon, and they deal 30 damage per second, which is quite a lot, especially when you consider how many of them you can put on the map. Though I would like to make a note, if you're playing Overwatch on console, they deal a little bit less damage at 25.5 per second. Not only do they auto-aim and start cooking you, but they will slow you by 25% per turret. This is multiplicative, of course, and not additive, so 6 turrets will slow you down by about 80%, or more or less freeze you in place, making you a huge target for everybody on the enemy team. Thankfully, though, they have very, very low health at 1, the lowest in the game, and it takes 10 seconds to regenerate each turret. So if you kill all of them, it can take up to a minute for Symmetra to put down another 6. And what that means is that Winston counters these turrets very, very hard because they can't penetrate his shield, and his Tesla cannon will kill all of them instantly. If you ever want to counter a Symmetra's turret, maybe not her herself, just pick Winston. The turrets can be placed on most surfaces on the map, and they track insanely well. I think turret placement and choosing to hide them are one of the key skills to being a good Symmetra. The sneakier you are with this, the more successful you're going to be. Some people hide them in crazy places. Some people like hiding them up high so you can't reach up and hit them. Some people like putting them underneath the payload and around objectives. They put them in bushes. They put them around odd corners. But there's still 2 basic strategies when it comes to turrets. You have the trickle and the death wall. Some people like to spread their turrets out and have little turrets everywhere being annoying, so they hit people individually and charge her ultimate as they go by, or they keep the enemies on their tiptoes, or they put all of their turrets in one central location hoping to absolutely murder some unsuspecting person as they go through. Moving along, let's talk about her Photon Barrier Shield. This was part of her more recent rework. The shield has a health of 1025 total damage, which is incredibly high. That's half of Reinhardt's shield, significantly more than Winston, and actually even more than Orisa's shield. It has a 5-meter width too. It's much wider than it is tall, and you just fling it forward and it kind of slowly floats forward and pushes forward, only breaking on impact with the wall. I guess you can break it if you shoot it straight down at the ground, but if you shoot it at any kind of angle, it tends to just float with the ground. Of note, the Photon Barrier works like any other shield, which means you can block Reinhardt ultimates with it, you can block Diva ultimates with it, and you can block anything with it. One of the more fun things to do, actually, if Pharah is ulting and you're close to her, you can fling the shield at her and make her kill herself or block a significant amount of it, because it is a 1000 hit point shield. Players tend to very greatly undervalue the Photon Barrier. It is an extremely powerful shield. It's mobile, you can do crazy things with it, and getting good with the Photon Barrier is a seriously underrated skill if you want to be a serious Symmetra, though it's probably best used to chase enemies, because nobody wants to be near your microwave. They're going to want to keep distance, so you fling your shield in front of you and run along behind it, shooting through it, chasing down soldiers or Genjis or McCrees or whoever else would be a threat. Finally, let's talk about Symmetra's ultimates. She has 2 of them, the only character in the game that I'm aware of that has 2. The teleporter, which she can place down, will have 400 total health, 350 of that's going to be shield, which means if they don't kill it, it will regenerate, and it can instantly teleport 6 people from the spawn. So you just put it down and the arrows on the ground will show you which way it's going to be pointing. It will automatically generate another teleporter in the spawn, and you can teleport 6 people, or 6 total teleports. It is definitely to your benefit to hide this. You don't want it to be directly on the point or in any obvious locations. I like to put it close, but not too close, and a lot of Symmetras will put turrets around it to keep it safe, because the teleporter really is the #1 reason you pick Symmetra to begin with. It's almost like having another mercy res. It's almost like having a second chance. If your whole team gets wiped, they can go straight back through the teleporter and keep on fighting. The teleporter is awesome for defense, which is why you mostly see Symmetra picked on defense, and why a lot of people want to reclassify her as a defensive character. Just make sure you point it in the right direction and you don't have it facing a wall or some confusing place to lead your teammates away. You want it pretty much pointing straight toward the point. And the teleporter can actually be surprisingly useful on payload and capture maps too when used offensively. Nothing confuses a team more on a 2-point or a capture map, a neutral point map, when they wipe you and then you show up again almost instantly because you've gone through the teleporter. You can also jump straight back onto the payload after losing and do some really cheeky things with it, though it's much more niche and specialized in those circumstances. Moving along, her other ultimate, also included with the rework, is the shield generator. It has the same 400 hit points 350 being shield, so if you don't kill it, it'll come back to full health. Except this one, instead of allowing you to teleport people, grants a flat 75 shield to allies, and this shield will regenerate just like Symmetra's or Zarya's or anybody else that has shield in the game, meaning that it's health that doesn't necessarily have to be healed. It is extremely useful, and it takes some characters that are a little bit squishy, like say Mercy or Tracer, and makes them much, much stronger. The effect radius of the shield generator is 50 meters, and I want to make it clear that that is the radius, which is enormous. That means it's got a 100-meter diameter, which means it will cover a colossal area. You really don't even have to put it that close to the point or that close to whatever area you want to have it in, because that is just ridiculous. I mean, it's if you put it so far away it's not helping your team, then you've really done something wrong. For example, it's so far away, Torbjorn's turret couldn't even lock onto it and kill it. It's just a colossal range. However, one neat thing about it, if your teammates do run out of range, it takes 5 seconds for your shield to fade. So if they're fighting on the border, they can always cross back in, pick up the shield, and then run out for 5 seconds before their shield will deteriorate. Shield generator is definitely going to be best used on the last point or combined with Torbjorn armor. There's a lot of people that like to combine it with the 75 Torbjorn armor, and the shield goes on top, so as long as that doesn't break, you can regenerate it and not lose the armor. So you can add a bonus 150 hit points to any character on your team, which can double Tracer's health. It can take Reaper up to 400, it can take Roadhog up to a ridiculous 750, and it can be very, very annoying and difficult to deal with. I mean, hell, it makes Mercy have 350 health, which makes her almost a tank and very, very difficult to kill. Best used for second points, sometimes for payload, definitely not as useful on the first point. And overall, Symmetra is awesome for defense. She is one of the best defensive characters in the game. I truly do not believe she is a great support, but Blizzard believes that she should be classified as a support because she provides the shields to her team. She's more niche for offense, but she can be used there. One of the things that she does best is she punishes players that have poor mechanics or aim, because it's very easy to lock on people with the microwave gun. It's very hard for them to break the lock, and unless somebody has very good mechanical aim to out DPS you or blow you up or have some kind of good healing or focus from their team, you're gonna absolutely destroy them. And a team that ignores Symmetra is a team that gets microwave. When I play with Symmetra, I tend to treat her as an additional DPS and not necessarily another healer. I'd rather have 2 healers and a Symmetra that's pretending to be a short-range DPS than just have the solo healer and the Symmetra support. When it comes to counters, Symmetra is very strong against Genji. He can't deflect any of her stuff, he can't do very much against her turrets, and she punishes him at the range at which he's supposed to be best. She does quite well against Tracer as well because the lock-on is instant, the turrets are instant for her, and while she doesn't necessarily kill Tracer a lot, she makes her job a lot harder. She can also punish Lucio and Zenyatta on healing. Zenyatta can rarely out-DPS her. Lucio's not going to be able to break the damage lock-on as easily, and as the damage ramps up, Lucio can't out-heal her like he can with other heroes. And finally, D.Va. D.Va's barrier blocks a ton of DPS. However, a locked-on Symmetra will slowly eat through that, and then as it ramps up, very quickly eat through that. A D.Va that ignores Symmetra is a D.Va that's going to die. Symmetra is, however, weak against a lot of heroes with range, such as Pharah and Widowmaker. Pharah and Widowmaker especially do punish her. Reaper can punish Symmetra at her own game because Reaper is a much more close-range hero and kind of blow her up with headshots. McCree's flashbangs do the Lord's work against Symmetra. Flashbang and fan the hammer and she is done. And finally, Mei. Mei can freeze her and shut all that microwave stuff up. Headshot her, very, very effective. And one thing I did want to point out is that Symmetra is oddly evenly matched with Winston. It kind of almost comes down to a skill matchup here. If Symmetra has her full DPS going on, her and Winston kill each other at about the same time. If she's low and she has to ramp up, Winston will probably kill her first. Winston can block some of her nonsense with the barrier, but if Symmetra gets a little bit of healing and she ramps all the way up, she can kill Winston. Or if she does the orb shotgun, then charge combo, she'll kill Winston. Typically, I would say that a Winston and a Symmetra alone, a Winston will win the matchup at a huge cost to his health, but Symmetra with decent team backup, support, and healing against a lone Winston, or a Winston without good backup, Symmetra is actually going to win. Guys, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful, and if you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.